Welcome back, Gothamites. If you're new here, hi. I'm London, aka History of the Batman. It's Valentine's Day week, which is one of Hallmark's best holidays to get that love cash. And while we can observe all of the lovers that Batman has had over his last 80 years, which I have covered in several places on Instagram and right here on YouTube, it's Love Week, so naturally we should be talking about Dick. Grayson, that is. There are plenty of other places on the internet for that other thing. But if we look at Dick Grayson, he's young and an adult, so all of these things that I'm going to be talking about in this video are fine because he's grown. He's cute and he's an acrobatic hero, which is all very attractive, I suppose. In the midst of all of this, unlike Bruce Wayne's Batman, Dick Grayson does try to have a regular, normal life, whether he's Robin or he's Nightwing. Which means at times we've seen Dick Grayson kind of be a man-ho, and it's fine. Like, I'm not judging him like, do you? I get it, you know what I mean? So for this video, we will highlight 5 women that Nightwing has definitely had sex with in DC Comics. From random hookups to finding his one true love, or several one true loves, and see how he deals with these relationships and how it affects him being Nightwing and part of the Batman family. But before we get down and dirty with Grayson, why don't you subscribe to this channel and become part of this wonderful Gothamite community. I just wanted to point out my shirt. It's one of my favorites. I love crossovers, so it's Rick and Morty as Batman and Robin. I don't think that you can see it properly in the frame, so I just wanted to shout that out. I'll put in the description the artist and where you can pick up the shirt. Our first love interest is Lou, which I believe I'm pronouncing it correctly. If not, I am terribly sorry. It is spelled L-I-U, so that is just the pronunciation I'm going with. She is an important love interest because she literally swiped Dick Grayson's V card. So it's good that we start off with her. In 2007's Nightwing Issue 135, Grayson is being interrogated by a man named Vigilante, who tortures him for information for over 50 hours because of his past relationship with both Lou and a man named Eddie, who have been meddling into some really bad stuff. So because he's being tortured this whole time, Grayson does tell Vigilante about the time that he was hanging out with Lou and Eddie when he was 17 years old. And through this story, he actually reveals that he had sex with Lou. He's 17 and there hasn't been any other instance stating that Dick Grayson has been with another woman. So the reader is to realize that Dick Grayson has lost his virginity to Lou. I mean, do you see that face? That is the face of a man losing his virginity. But Dick Grayson's relationship with Lou actually becomes very tainted because Grayson learns that the only reason why Lou is having sex with him is to woo him and convince him to give him a pass key to Wayne Enterprises and Wayne Tech so they can use those resources. So she was literally using Grayson not only for his body but for his connections to Bruce Wayne. Not only did Grayson discover that because he's a detective himself, I mean, look at his mentor. The same night that Lou has sex with Grayson, she has sex with Eddie. And Grayson is literally crushed. He's like crying. He's like, it's devastating. Like, first person that you give yourself to is hoeing around with the other bad guy and is literally just using you for your resources. That sucks. This rain. Alexa, play Here Comes the Rain Again by the Eurythmics because I don't understand. Our first love interest kind of ends in slight tragedy. And is it surprising that Grayson's first encounter is with a bad guy? Not really. Alright, our second love interest is Laurie Elton, who was Dick Grayson's college sweetheart. In comics, Laurie was technically Dick Grayson's first real love when he met her when he finally went off to college and attended Hudson University. During Grayson attending Hudson, he was still being Robin the Teen Wonder from time to time, in particular focusing on crimes that happened on campus or around campus. So Grayson had his own solo adventures that were slightly separate from Batman. But of course, since Dick and Laurie were trying to have a normal, long, healthy relationship, it is implied through several stories that they both have had sex with one another, which is normal. They're in college. They're in a grown-up relationship. It's very natural. But of course, Laurie brings villainous baggage to their relationship and just becomes very problematic. Not only was Laurie dating a bad guy named Scar, I mean, think about it. If you hear anyone's name is Scar, you know they're trouble. And Grayson, as Robin, has to apprehend him. So that's already a red flag for Dick Grayson, because he's like, oh, she likes to date bad guys. That's not healthy. But then there was an instance that there was a murder on campus, and Dick Grayson as Robin goes to try to solve this murder and apprehend the killer. And while all of this, Laurie is like, but he's not paying attention to me or wondering how I feel about the situation, and dumps him for doing his job. Even though she doesn't know that that's his job, it's still like, wow. Okay. Then, like basic girls do, she wants him back after Laurie starts dating a new guy who becomes the Raven, who is a bad guy, and Dick Grayson as Robin has to stop him. But Grayson, which, thank you so much for being a smart young man and not just thinking with your stuff down there, realize, you know what, you're problematic and I'm not getting back with you. Sorry, Laurie, go date some bad guy. Let's face it, like a lot of times college love and high school love, they just don't, end up well. It's normal, it's fine. But I'm very glad that Grayson got out of that rather toxic relationship. Okay, our number 3 love interest is Tarantula the Assaulter. Disclaimer, bells, whistles. This next encounter literally deals with sexual assault. So if this is a trigger for you, or you don't want to hear a story about a sexual assault, then I will literally put right here where you can go to that timestamp and skip number 3. I completely understand. Even though this is fiction, the act of sexual assault is very, very real, and I do not want to put any of you guys watching in an awkward or uncomfortable situation, considering this video is supposed to be for fun and is supposed to be a learning experience about this character. So just wanted to let you know that I'm not trying to glorify anything within the realm of rape culture. Just want to let you guys know that. So if you don't know, Catalina Flores, aka Tarantula, is a former FBI agent who becomes the masked, I guess, vigilante named Tarantula, who is trying to take down corruption within the police department within Bloodhaven, which is a city that Dick Grayson protects. Although Nightwing does decide to mentor Tarantula so she can become a better vigilante, he of course is not down with the fact that she is very lethal, like she kills people. And of course, having Bruce Wayne as a mentor, he knows that you don't have to use lethal force in order to bring justice to wherever you are. In Nightwing issue 93, both Tarantula and Nightwing take on the mighty Blockbuster, who not only threatens Nightwing, but also anyone that he loves and cares about, he's going to go kill. And this literally sends Nightwing into a physical and mental breakdown. He feels like he's failed himself as a hero. He's failed Tarantula because he was supposed to be her mentor. He's even failed Bruce Wayne's Batman because that was his mentor, and actually collapses on the ground. During this, Tarantula decides, no, Blockbuster, you're not going to kill Nightwing and his family. So she shoots him in the head, killing him. After this killing, Tarantula finds Nightwing in the rain, on the ground, broken, and decides, in order to comfort him and to make him feel better, she straddles him and begins to have sexual intercourse with him in the rain. Like that's not familiar. You know what I mean? This is different because even within these panels of Nightwing and Tarantula, Nightwing's telling her, please don't touch me and stop. So for everyone reading it at the time, it was very controversial because literally Tarantula sexually assaulted Nightwing. And even though the writer, Devin Grayson, has said that the term rape has never been implied for this particular scene, many still see it as sexual assault because it was non-consensual sex on Nightwing's end. For anyone watching, male or female, I don't care. No means no. I know you should be like, well, duh, London. Well, guess what? It's 2019 and some really bad stuff still is happening. So please respect one another. Respect others, even if you don't know them. No means no. Okay, that's the end of that after school special message. Okay. Of course, in the end, after this encounter and Tarantula just being a very lethal individual, Nightwing and Tarantula are of course no more, which is good considering that this experience was probably very traumatizing for Dick Grayson and one that he unfortunately will never forget. But our last two love interests is probably the two that you are most familiar with if you are into Nightwing and his history. So number 4 is Starfire, who is Dick Grayson's first love, like first real love. I get it. Laurie in college, that was his college sweetheart. That was the first time he kind of had a long-term relationship, and so that's his first that. But this is a different type of love. Grayson and Corey are definitely a fan favorite couple ever since they started in Marv Wolfman and George Perez's book, The New Teen Titans, which began in the early 1980s. In this and other interpretations of Starfire, she is a very sexual alien being. It is no wonder that within their relationship, Grayson and Starfire have definitely done the nasty. But in several different books, there are many examples. And because of this, Corey obviously has feelings for Dick Grayson and vice versa. It's not just the physical stuff, but Starfire has helped and watched Dick Grayson grow into his own mature persona from being Robin the Teen Wonder to being Nightwing. This relationship is technically Nightwing's first mature relationship, I suppose I would argue. Eventually, Dick confesses his love for Starfire and he even asks her to marry him. But of course, this didn't pan out at all, and in the big wedding issue, Raven actually wrecks the wedding and the two don't get married. After this, their relationship has been on and off. They've hooked up here or there over the next decades. One of the worst panels that I have seen when it comes to Dick Grayson and Starfire is that Starfire just straight out asks Dick Grayson, "Are you still in love with me?" And he just says no and walks away. I mean, that's terrible. I love Dick Grayson. I love Nightwing. He is one of my favorite Batman family characters besides Batman. Literally, him and Alfred, those are my two. But when I read that, I was like, wow, that's a lot. And even though that panel is tragic, this is actually a wonderful segue into our last love interest for Dick Grayson on this list, and that is Barbara Gordon, who I believe is Dick Grayson's true love. Ever since their first unplanned and kind of eyebrow-raising kiss that happened in 1975's The Batman Family Issue 1, Dick Grayson's Robin and Barbara Gordon's Batgirl have had a love spark for decades. However, within these decades, especially from the mid-1970s all the way to the late 1990s, both have been in other relationships, from Dick Grayson and Starfire to Barbara Gordon and Private Detective Jason Bard. Time just wasn't ready for them to embrace each other, and that made me sad. But then, Babs and Dick finally realized that they are the two that need to be together, in particular in the issue Birds of Prey issue 8, which is one of my favorite Babs and Dick stories. And after this, Babs and Grayson were pretty much an item, while it was through this or even through 1999's No Man's Land whatever was going on, they both kind of had that flirtatious, that romantic nature with one another. And they were pretty much coupled up. Even during the Infinite Crisis series, Nightwing asks Oracle to marry him. But this event is actually explored further within the Nightwing Lost Year. And in this issue from 2007 by Mark and Draco in Nightwing Annual 2, after Infinite Crisis, Nightwing almost dies. Barbara Gordon, being the angel that she is, nursed him back to health. And during this whole process and after he's better, they both reminisce about certain events that they've both had with one another. From their first team up as a dynamic duo fighting Crazy Quilt to an even more heartbreaking memory that Dick Grayson didn't even know happened. 6 months after Barbara Gordon was shot and paralyzed by the Joker, which of course is highlighted in the book Batman the Killing Joke, Dick Grayson finally sees Barbara Gordon and they have a very emotional moment and they sleep together that night. Well, guess what? I'm still mad at this and it's over a decade old. I know there's been different continuities and they could have retconned this and whatever. I don't care. Still pisses me off. The next morning, while Babs is like, hey, we rekindled, we had sex, it was great, Dick Grayson decides, hey Babs, here's an invitation to me and Starfire's wedding. Just want to let you know. I was shook. I was like, no. Do not do that, Grayson. That is not okay. That is like the worst thing ever. He sleeps with a woman that he probably does love before he gets married to another woman. Don't do that. Okay, I'm better. I'm sorry. Dick literally dropped the ball, right? What was that? But of course, leading into the New 52 and DC Rebirth and all of the new comics, both Grayson and Babs have been seen to have a flirtatious nature in different books. And I truly feel like Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon are probably the ones that should end up together. I know people ship Starfire and Nightwing so much. I understand that they were a great couple, but I honestly think that Babs and Dick are the ones that should end up together in the end. Thank you so much for watching this video about 5 women that Nightwing has definitely had sex with in DC Comics. The funny thing is, I can do a whole nother 5 women list if you want. Originally, I was going to do way more than 5 because, like I said, sometimes Dick Grayson can just kind of be hoeing around. It's fine. It's fine, you know? Like, there are other women that literally are one-night stands and he's just having sex with them. And I could do a list just about those women if you enjoyed this list. Let me know if you enjoyed this list or if you want to learn about other women that Dick Grayson has had some type of relationship with, whether sexual or just a full-on relationship. I think that stuff's interesting because, like I said, these characters are human, especially the Batman family. They're human. They have needs. So we should discuss those needs and see how that affects them as a hero. I personally think with several of the relationships that we discussed, whether it was his college sweetheart being upset that he was being Robin and trying to solve a murder on campus, to Nightwing getting beat up by Blockbuster and then taken advantage of while on the job, to even him being Robin or Nightwing and in serious relationships, and how that either molded him for the better or for the worse in his own crusade for justice within whether Bloodhaven or Nightwing or wherever he is. I think that his personal relationships do affect his job as being a hero, and it's all very, very interesting to observe. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a bat thumbs up. As always, all of my social media is linked in the description below, including Instagram at History of the Batman. So why don't you give it a follow and become a Gothamite? I did not forget about the Mondo contest. I am sorry, I literally have been moving this past week. As you can see, I am in a completely different place because I moved to a new house. We're moved in, I'm still setting up my office. It will look completely different over the next couple weeks, month. But I will be announcing the winner of Mondo's exclusive 30th anniversary Batman original score vinyl within the next video or two. I will tell the winner. I will announce it to you guys. I haven't forgotten, I promise. I've just literally been busy moving. So that's why. Oh, and also, many Gothamites both on Twitter and on Instagram have been asking me, when are you going to review the books for Titan Books? Now I am. I was actually going to review this awesome book, which Titan sent to me, which is the Harley Quinn Mad Love Batman novelization. Actually, now I have all three of the Batman DC Comics novelizations by Titan's books. We have Harley Quinn Mad Love, which was of course originally written by Paul Dini and illustrated by Bruce Timm. Novelization for that. I was going to review that for Valentine's Day, literally put it on Valentine's Day, and I was almost done reading the book, but then I started to move and I literally didn't have time to just have me time and to relax and to read. So that review will be coming next week. I'm sorry. I planned on having it for Valentine's Day. It didn't pan out. But I also received Batman the Killing Joke, which of course was originally written by Alan Moore and illustrated by Brian Boland and John Higgins. I will be reviewing that book as well. And then this week, I actually received Batman Court of Owls, which of course was a New 52 arc. It was the first Batman arc within that new relaunch, and it's by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. And that book is actually coming out February 19th. So you can't go to the bookstore and get it just yet, but you can order it. And all three of these books, I will give separate reviews for them. I promise. Thank you so much, Titan Books. I will link in the description below where you can either order the books now or pre-order the Court of Owls book. Yes. Watch my videos for DC Comics DC Fans channel. Actually, Goddess Mode issue 3, my review will be out sometime this week. So look out for that and subscribe to the DC Fans channel because I am reviewing Zoe Quinn and Robbie Rodriguez Goddess Mode. I also will be doing some cool stuff for Batman's 80th anniversary coming up. So please watch DC Fans and DC Comics and all that good stuff and watch out for my face. And of course, please subscribe to this channel and become a part of this wonderful Gothamite community. It would mean so, so much to me. Thank you so much for watching. It's very interesting to talk about Nightwing and him kind of being a hoe. I'm sorry. I just like to call Nightwing a hoe because he just seems like the total like F-boy type, you know? Like I can totally see that from reading certain books. Like, it's fine. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a very fun and lovey-dovey Valentine's Day with the Batman or the Batgirl or the Nightwing or the Catwoman or whoever in your life. And we will have more history of the Batman soon right here on YouTube. Remember, Gothamites, it's all about peace, love, and Batman. Bye. Don't be a hoe, Nightwing. I felt like I had to end with that.